Well, hello and welcome. And if you've been here before, you know that this is my monthly front yard garden tour. We have had our trees trimmed, so the cedars are looking a lot better. Not as much dead brown stuff on them. The pines were not trimmed, but we do have a tree behind the pines just to the left of the house there. You can barely make it out, called a toyon, and they trimmed that and it looks really good. So you can see that my parking strip is still the same old ugly, but the lantana, which I finished trimming, has finally started filling in. Look at that. I'm really pleased with that. I can't wait till it starts to have flowers on it again. We've also mulched this part of the parking strip. I pulled out the weeds. I actually cheated. I didn't pull out all the weeds. So you can see that some of them are kind of coming through. But I covered most of the weeds, hoping to smother them out. It helps. It will help. The only thing it doesn't really help with is pine cones, which drop at a rate that I wish I could slow down. But here's the lantana up close. There was a lot of junk in here, as I mentioned before, a lot of debris and a lot of dead wood, because a lot of the fallen debris had started mulching onto the lower branches. So this poor thing was just not doing really great. It had a lot of mold at the bottom, and it just needed a little TLC. So hopefully it'll look a lot better from here on out, especially if I stay on top of it. So I'm sort of funny, I guess. I've given my beds names, and I do it for a reason. It helps me remember when I make notes to myself what work I need to do. So we just finished looking at the parking strip. This area under the pine trees I call Pine Curve, and it goes all the way up to the bench in the corner of the house. So I worked on Pine Curve. You can see, and we'll get closer in a minute, but I've started mulching this area, and the only area I haven't done is this part from the last tree to the sidewalk, because it was pretty back-breaking work, and it took me a good part of a day to do the small section I did. So I need to take out the Bermuda grass and the weeds and mulch it, and then I've been setting little shrubs from my nursery out here, my ragtag nursery, to decide what I want to plant here. And then I'm going to need to use an auger, I think, to plant these, because there's a lot of roots under these trees. I missed some of the ivy. We've got some very persistent ivy that was growing around these trees. But I think I'm liking the shrubs that I chose, and they seem to be spacing requirements and the size that are listed on the tags seem like they'll work here. I did get more of the edger bricks, and as I was laying them out and deciding what line I wanted to follow, I realized that I wanted to go out further than I had when I weeded and mulched. So that means I have more grass to remove further back here. I thought I was done, but guess what? I wasn't. So I planted some liriope, lily turf, and I hope it does well here. I've never planted it before. I've never used it before, but I like the way it looks, and I think it'll look good here. Now that it's mulched, it's easier to see the plants. I've got those 3 little teeny tiny baby heucheras, and this azalea that blooms red, and a pink, I believe it's a pink hydrangea. And then I found another plant in the clearance that I thought would look nice here. This is a Japanese fern. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with how this is going to look. It's already looking a lot better. And it's kind of funny, when I put the mulch down, my husband said, "How does that look better?" "That just looks like dirt. We're gonna just pile dirt under the trees?" Well, I think mulch looks great. I don't know about y'all, but I like mulch. Anyway, I think the addition of these bricks, and of course the shrubs, are gonna change his opinion, and I think it's going to look a lot more finished and tidy. Okay, so here we are at the office bed, and I did some work here. You can see that I've removed the weeds that were under the bench. I mulched this whole area. I reseeded pavers here, and then I decided I needed to do more. So there's 2 that are not seeded yet. Those are the ones that look kind of cleaner. I may add a couple more because our mailman passes through here, and I'd like to give him something easier to walk on. Now, I did not address the area behind the bench. This was a lot of hard work, so I have that to still do. It's a lot of pine needles, some Bermuda grass. I just need to pull all those weeds and mulch that area. So going on in the office bed, the boxwood balls got a haircut. They're looking nice. I've also got, oops, there goes my finger. I've also got the urn growing out pretty well. The vinca died. And there's that spiral boxwood. Not look very good from this side, but looks good on this side. It'll fill in. And haven't changed too much here. I moved one of the heucheras over because I've planted a couple of bare root hostas in the front, in front of where the daffodils were. I do have a couple of hostas in front of the foxtail fern, but now I'm going to have about 4 out here if the bare roots make it. I think I might have waited a little too long to plant them. So I got a delphinium. It's beautiful. I had started delphiniums from seed 3 separate times and no success. I mean, not even a tiny bit of green. So I caved and bought one. The hydrangeas are both looking good. There's a little one way back there, and then this one. They're both white. And what else is going on over here? Oh, a new little stepping stone, which is a hint of what's to come. I'm also pretty excited because the ajuga is starting to blossom, which I just am so excited about. I think the ajuga that I have in the shadier portion may never blossom because of not getting as much sun. That's my guess. I've mulched the whole area. The azaleas seem like they're almost done. I've had a couple of flowers left, but they aren't really holding up too well anymore. And then a new little project here that I don't think will take very long, but I haven't got to. I want to raise up these pavers that have the plants on them because they tend to get flooded when I water over here, so they're a little too low. And then I found this Irish moss on clearance at Lowe's, and so I want to put that around the pavers, and that would be these 3. Obviously that's a lavender, not an Irish moss. These are some plants that just needed a little bit of water, so some of them have homes, some of them don't. I did get a new hose, which I'm super excited about. They were at Costco, really reasonable, and this one's been driving me crazy because it kinks. Plus, if I'm not mistaken, it doesn't have a proper ending. I think my husband kind of jimmied that one. Anyway, I did trim this shrub as well. It doesn't look quite as open. It's been filling out, so I shaped it more this time. It's still pretty open, but it needed a 2-step approach, and you know, it'll grow in a little bit more. We're just at the beginning of spring. So that is the office bed, and I like the way it's looking. Spring does wonders. So here's our kitty. She wants to be in every frame. I don't know if I've ever shown the little ornament above the door. I really like that. I'm thinking of painting my door black, and I'm not sure how that'll look with that ornament up there because it's kind of a bronze. I'll have to make some decisions here. Everything on the porch is looking pretty good. I've kind of refreshed the pots here. Not the pots in the back on that middle step that have the candy tuft. Those I've done nothing to. Oh wait, I'm lying. I added one little white impatient on the outside edge of both of them. And I didn't do anything with the pots on the lowest level that the cat is drinking water from. But I brought a pot out here that I had planted some bulbs in, and I added some white pansies to it that kind of reflected the white pansy pot that keeps moving around. And then on the other side, I have a little pot that I've got impatiens in, and Ooh, something I grew from seed, candy tuft. It has not gone into bloom yet. And then I added some pansies to this pot that used to have a chrysanthemum in it. It's had the alyssum in it for a while. And then a little sneak here, these little paper stepping stones were over by the bench in the garage bed. And you'll see in a minute why they're not there anymore. And then I've added a few hose guides here and there. I got these hose guides, boxes of 4 on OfferUp for, gosh, I want to say they were like $10. And I think they look so cute and they're so nice to, they help me to keep from smashing plants when I'm pulling the hose around. So I'm really glad to have bought those. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. This is the only shrub in the front that I have not trimmed yet, but you can see it's really filling in. You know, I had made these, it's a dwarf myrtle, and I had made it into 2 sections because I wanted to have 2 balls here. So it's going to take another hard prune. I'm going to give it another hard prune because I want to make it a little smaller. I'm going to take a lot off the top, which means it's going to look kind of funny and bald, but it's part of a plan. The rose is doing well. It's bloomed for me. It's not blooming right now. I didn't have as many blossoms as I had hoped to have, but it is blooming and it looks very healthy, so I will continue to care for it. And the red bud is leafing out and it just looks so pretty. And I like the way that it, now that it has the weight of the buds and the leaves, that it kind of arches down more, because after I trimmed it I thought I probably should have left 1 or 2 of the arching lower branches because they always look so pretty. But let's finish up over here. So the Nepeta the Catmint, oh, there's my shadow. The Catmint's blooming. It's not looking the way I was thinking it would look, but maybe that's because it's early in the season, but I'm just happy it's blooming. And it's also gotten quite a bit larger, so that's exciting to me. The azaleas aren't really giving me a lot of blossoms, but I'm still getting a few. This one doesn't have any on it. Oh, I don't know how to get rid of my shadow. We don't want to see me. But the other one has a few blossoms. Sadly, the poppies that I planted behind this azalea did not survive. But I'm happy to report that the 2 that had been from self-seeding, so one of them is right there, and then there's another one, where is it? Right over there. They seem to be doing really well. They're bigger than the ones that I had grown from in a seed starter, in a cell pot. I trimmed back all the petunias here and fed them in the hopes that maybe they would fill out a lot again. It's funny, they were filled out and they looked really great, as were a lot of these shrubs in blossom and bloom, the roses included. And I kind of deadheaded everything as I was cleaning up, and so nothing's very floral right now, but that's how it goes. Sometimes you get everything in bloom and sometimes you don't. So let's see if I can get my shadow out of the way. I don't normally film at this time, but I'm going to be busy later, so. Here are the Perennial Flax. They're getting bigger. So I don't know if I've got them too crowded or have too many of them, but I can always pull the excess if it is the case. And then these are the other, I keep wanting to say zinnias, poppies. So they're getting bigger. I tried to remember when my poppies that I grew in the past bloomed, and it seems like they bloom late in May, so I don't know if those are a little behind. They look like they may be. Have not done anything here. I'm still happy with the placement of all these shrubs. I just need to make some time to come out here, kind of amend the soil, and plant everything. You can see there's another one of those. No, that's not. That's a hint at what's coming. So these little bricks I'm going to actually place, or what's the word? I'm going to sink them into the ground there, because I want to have a little path when I want to go work back here. I have some things to plant, and obviously these new shrubs are going to need care, so it'll be nice to have a place to step. So the reason that my pavers are piled up over by the office bed is because I got some new ones. Look at these. Oh, there's Cleo. I love these pavers. They are so pretty. I got them on OfferUp, and I went originally I only wanted to buy enough for this area here because I was trying to not go crazy and spend money, but when I got there and realized that they're actual stone, whereas the ones I had before were concrete, shaped or formed and pressed to look like stone. These just look so much better on the gravel. I'll try to put in a picture to show what the others looked like in place, just as a contrast, because these match the gravel so much better being a natural stone. And I love the large shape and the texture. Oh, I just love them. Anyway, enough about that. So I gave this boxwood a trim, as well as these two little guys that used to be in the near the walkway. And I kind of like them over here. I think they'll probably stay here. And what else is going on back here? Rose also, I've just deadheaded, so there's nothing there. The bougainvillea, though, does have blooms on it. Oh, aren't those pretty? I just love those. And that's just a few. Boy, when it's totally covered in blooms, it looks so stunning to me. Now I'm having a little issue with my bird bath. It's been turning red, and I couldn't figure out what that was, but I looked it up, and apparently it's some kind of a bacteria. So I can clean it. It doesn't have water in it right now because I do need to clean it. I guess you can clean it with vinegar, and you also can clean it with bleach, but if you clean it with bleach, you have to let it sit for a while, which means you have to cover it so the birds don't get into it. So I may try the vinegar route, see how that goes. I just don't like it red. Not that I have anything against red. It just looks better when it's just that single concrete color. So I moved a little, I don't know if you can see it, I moved a little geranium, ivy geranium up here. And of course, I've deadheaded that one too, so you can't see it, but it's got really pale pink flowers. It's very pretty. And then I got myself a new salvia to put behind this cream colored one, and it's a real pretty dark purple, but it's over by the water spigot because it was kind of dried out. I need to get it in the ground today. And then before I move on, here's a look. Oh, that finger. Here's a look at the triple ball topiary. It looks like I could have trimmed it a little more on the top two portions, but I gave it another trim, and I like how it's shaping up. And then moving along down here, the Live Forever sedum is just looking so pretty. Both of them look really great. And the lamb's ears are looking great. The snapdragons, I don't think are long for this world. I just deadheaded them and kind of trimmed back some of the yellowed foliage, but I think they're going to have to come out soon, as with these two irises, especially the purple one. But I moved these up here. I had grown them in pots because I didn't know where I wanted them. I got them from a fellow student in my gardening class, and I just appreciated that she was generous enough to share the rhizomes. They're so expensive to buy, and I am on a tight budget. And so I put them in pots because I thought that way I could put them wherever I wanted them when they bloomed, and this is where they've been. Here's my ceanothus, and oh, I love it so much. The only thing that's kind of scary about it is they grow huge and wild, and so it's not going to want to stay in this pot long, and I do need to figure out a place for it. I think it's going to go in the backyard. But oh, isn't it pretty? Look at those blooms. They're just so interesting. It's called a California Lilac, and I see that it does remind me of a lilac. So my snapdragons here are also starting to look a little spent. Let's walk around this corner, and here's a cat cleaning herself. Wow, how classy. So the lamb's ears are all looking really great. I'm kind of regretting that I didn't plant them in more of a straight row. I was trying to go for the drift, Laura from Garden Answer always plants beautiful beds and does a lot of quote unquote drifts, and she just has such an eye. I just love how she sets up her beds, but that's an art, I guess. I'm gonna have to learn that through experience. I have some Dusty Miller that I think I've added since the last tour. I'm not sure. The carnations are also starting to wear out. Look at this little sad yellow carnation. There's no flowers, I don't think, on any of them. Well, spent flowers. And then this is a Mexican heather that's just starting to green up again. Well, it never went brown, but it's starting to grow and it's got little flowers on it. And there's another one right over here. And then the Verbena is looking really pretty still. I've been deadheading it. I don't know if you're supposed to, but I just don't want the seeds going everywhere. The sweet pea bush is just starting to flower and it looks so pretty. I really love that. And then a little bit more dusty miller. Now I had a white stalk somewhere around here and I moved it over this way. I don't think these stalk are going to be here much longer either. And so I had these petunias that I had grown from seed. They're called Evening Sensation, and they're very pretty. I'll put a picture on the screen. And so I, again, trying for the drift. In this case, I think I made a W shape. Yeah. I don't know if you can see the W. Anyway, because I figured those stalk plants are going to come out, and so that'll be a little bit of a, I don't know. We'll see how it looks. I've got my little Iceland Poppy trying to give me a new flower, but he just couldn't muster it before the tour. That's okay, buddy. You did your best. The rosemary has grown quite a lot. It is not giving me any flowers anymore, but it was pretty when it flowered. I don't recall my old rosemaries ever flowering like that, so I like that. And then what else? I moved some more of those Evening Sensation petunias into both of the garage door planters. I forgot. I do need to trim these pittosporums by the garage, the cohuhu, golf ball cohuhus. I'm trying to kind of keep them in a more of a pointed, inverted cone kind of a shape, so they need a little bit of a trim. All in all, I'm really happy with how the front is looking. I do believe that I've made the this bed in particular a little bit busier than I would like it to be. But part of that was just trying to keep it filled in until I could get perennials that would, you know, reach a good size. And I would like to make it a little bit lower maintenance and a little less, a little more drought tolerant. So I'm getting there. So to continue my thought on these stone pavers, I don't believe I finished what I was saying. I went in initially and bought about 10 because I thought I was only going to use them right here in front of the bench. And after I left, after I got home and I realized how much I loved them, I was really regretting not buying all that the people were selling. They had, to my knowledge, they had at least double what I bought. And they didn't, I don't think they really realized how nice these were. They just wanted them out because they recently bought the house and they wanted to remove all these pavers that the previous owners had put around and just cement everything. They were going to concrete everything in. So anyway, after thinking about it for a day or so, I contacted them and decided to go back and get more. And the reason I did that is, I've mentioned in a previous video, trying to move the camera without making you all sick, that we are unhappy. I'm unhappy with our walkway. So you might have noticed this a few minutes ago when I panned past that I went and bought the rest. I think they ended up having more than half left, but they gave it to me for the price of the first batch, so it was a really good deal. A lot less than what these would have really cost, to buy new, because it's real stone. I don't know what kind it is, but I certainly couldn't have afforded it. So we had here originally, the previous owner, I think I've mentioned it before, had these stepping stones that are kind of an aggregate. They're made out of, I don't know, Mexican pebbles or something. And I don't hate them, but they were never a favorite. Of course, the problem we have is that they sunk down or the grass grew up over them. So to make this actually work, what we need to do is pull out the grass. My husband's not going to be happy about that because he's so tired from working in the back, but I don't know, maybe we'll hire some people to come do it. The idea is just to put gravel, like I did over, you know, where the bench is, and just kind of have this be not a direct straight path, but just maybe a little bit of a curve. I don't want it to be real windy. It's not a long enough distance for that. But just a little bit of a graceful curve with gravel and some plants along the sides. I think that would look really pretty. There did used to be plants in this area on both sides. It was actually quite pretty. So that's the plan. So this is the last bed in this section. I didn't go over the names of my beds, so I call this the porch bed, and everything from the walkway to the edge of the myrtles and the post that has the roses is the porch bed. And then when I get over here, even though technically this is our dining area window, I kind of consider everything between the myrtle and the bench to be my kitchen bed. And then everything from the red bud and bench to the edge of the garage is the garage bed, including this bit right here. So the one I'm going to show you right now is the walkway bed. And I did plant something new here. It's very pretty, variegated, low water. I have no idea what it's called. It was in the clearance section. I liked it. I could afford it. And I liked the requirements, etc. But I don't remember what it's called. I don't remember if it flowers. I'll try to put that information up on the screen. I also don't understand why it's got that big green bit in the middle. I don't know if some other plant got in there or what is going on with that, but I left it. The Coreopsis, I'm convinced now these all are Coreopsis. They're all doing really great. The Vinca, the white Vinca, is starting to look kind of meh. I'm probably going to pull those out. I don't really like the way they look. The Lime Sedum looks good. The Creeping Jenny looks good. The Veronica is still pretty small. It's not really doing anything, but when it comes into its own, and I do have confidence it will, it'll look great. I hope it'll really look good because of the licorice plant being in the background. And one of my Coreopsises has just blossomed. Oh, so pretty. They're a little more orange than I remember, but I still like them. And there's another one of those hose guides. And then this is really exciting. The Powwow Echinacea is about to give me a flower. So that's going to be really pretty. It's kind of a raspberry colored flower. I think I called that a Rudbeckia last month, but it is not a black-eyed Susan. It is an Echinacea coneflower. So I'm really happy with this bed. And of course, again, I've mulched all of these beds. You can see there's this light colored cedar mulch from the cedar trees that were trimmed. I tried to pick the cedar off the top because they did quite a few trees, including citrus trees, and so some of the mulch isn't as light. Although now that it's here, I'm not even sure I really like the light colored mulch, but I'm just glad everything's mulched. It's really helping with weeds. It's helping with the water retention. It's doing everything it's supposed to do. No complaints. Now here's what's left of the mulch pile. Oh, it's still here. It's starting to get on my husband's nerves. We transported quite a lot of it to the backyard, and I've got quite a mountain of mulch now in the corner of the backyard. And we've had a few people, or at least one person, come and pick mulch up. We've had a few actually interested, but not everyone has followed through. So I have one more student from my gardening class who thinks he may be coming out this weekend. He threw his back out, but he's very interested in it, and I know he has a truck. So wow, if he would take this all, that would make my day. If not, I mean, I still need to use some of it over in the last bit there of my pine curve. Anyway, that's it. End of tour. The front yard's not very large, so these tours really can't go on terribly long. And I appreciate you coming by, checking it out, following my progress, being interested in my silly kitty who has clean water inside, but insists on drinking the drained water from the pots. Cleo, say goodbye to the folks. If you liked this video, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos from me, please subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next month.